So what do you do if the buyer you're working with writes an offer with a different agent? This is Ron Wojciechowski for Real Estate in a Nutshell, and this is getting a little tricky. So let's start at the beginning. Let's suppose that you showed the property and they wanted to write an offer, but they ended up writing with a different agent, maybe even the listing agent. In this case, you may have procuring cause, and you and your broker could examine if this property goes under contract and eventually closes. You and your broker could look at procuring cause and perhaps recover part or all of the commission because you were the one that was most influential in showing the property and bringing it to the buyer's attention. That's one thing. Now, let's just suppose that there's some gray area here because you definitely set the appointment, opened up the door, let them in, but for some reason they chose to go back and write an offer with a different agent, maybe even a listing agent. You see where this might run into problems if you definitely opened up the door, but you spend most of your time texting and making phone calls and walking around and not really giving skill, care, and diligence to the buyer and consulting with them. If they felt shortchanged on the experience, a case could be made that we didn't serve them properly and that they would be able to go to a different agent, and that agent could earn that commission. So that's something, again, that you'd want to speak with your broker about as far as sales training and skill development. Are we doing the right things at the appointment besides opening up the door? Now, the third thing that we can also talk about is what we call a buyer brokerage agreement. I think most agents are familiar with them, but maybe not using them. I don't advocate for or against them, but if you're going to use a buyer brokerage agreement, it in essence talks about you, your service, and the client, in a time period which you're going to agree to work together, and a specified rate of expense, fee that you're going to charge them. And when that is done, then it's enforceable if they choose to buy a property with a different brokerage. The catch is this: if they sign the paper, it's not enough just to show the paper at closing. You have to enforce it. It definitely could involve an attorney, but you will have to enforce the document if they don't willingly write you a check, the go-away money. And if you're not willing to enforce it, it's probably not worth the paper that it's printed on. So if you're going to go to the extent to base a relationship on that piece of paper, then it's got to have some teeth in it. Now, if you are more of the relationship business, don't feel that's required, I can advocate for that too. Occasionally, no matter how hard you work and how hard you try, I don't think there's an agent out there that has an experience going through the whole process but not making it to the finish line because they change agents abruptly at the end. Definitely not easy. I love your feedback on this topic. Please comment below. Definitely subscribe. This is Ron Wojciechowski for Real Estate in a Nutshell.